Hi, my name is Keith Tenzer, and I'm a solution architect here at Together.ai. And today I want to show you how you can deploy our models in a dedicated self-serve environment. That's right, no noisy neighbor, just you and your enterprise use cases with predictable performance and availability. So this is our platform and the dashboard, and I'm going to drop into models so we can see all the models that we offer out of the box. And for this dedicated setup, I'm going to choose the Qwen 3 coder. We'll use the 30 billion parameter model, and we're just going to click the three dots here and select deploy on dedicated. And as you can see, here is the configuration for this dedicated endpoint. We have the model, the endpoint name, the hardware configuration. So it's going to let us choose between two H100s or four. If I had a large context window here that I wanted to support, I'd probably go with four. But if I need the memory, but in this case we don't, so we're just going to leave it at two, which is the minimal configuration. And then we have min-max replicas, so I could set max replicas to be higher if I wanted to support auto scaling, or if I had larger concurrency or QPS that I had to deal with for this use case, I could increase the min replicas as well so that I have more instances of this model running. Now I have this auto shutdown feature. This is useful or can be useful if you want to turn it off after a certain amount of time, if it's not a 24/7 running model. I'm gonna have it disabled. And then you can set the availability zone. And this is dependent, of course, on the hardware being available, but there's a plethora of availability zones. I'm just gonna say no preference. And that brings us finally to the advanced options. So we have prompt caching or speculative decoding. Now, this is going to be dependent on if this standard kind of out-of-the-box model supports these configurations. And so that's not necessarily certainty. And also, you really will only want these if you're interested in getting the utmost performance, time to first token, tokens per second out of the model. And if you're really doing customizations to that point, then probably the self-serve right now isn't a good spot. You should reach out to the sales team to work with solution architects like myself that can benchmark and really optimize and tune your models to what your use case requires. That said, we have here for this dedicated cost of 11 cents per minute. I'm just going to click deploy, and we're off to the races, and we are well on our way here deploying this endpoint. And I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and be right back. All right, we are back, coffee in hand, and we have now provisioned this endpoint, this Qwen 3 coder, as you can see, and we have a couple of examples of how to access that endpoint with Python, TypeScript, and curl. In addition, we have this playground here where we can test and experiment with our new endpoint. And so here is a good way to do that. There's a lot of settings and different samplings that you can configure and play with. But I have something a little bit more interesting in mind. And I've created here a chat client that can simultaneously talk to multiple models at the same time. And it's kind of a fun way to do some comparison. So let's open up some panes here. We can have, ChatGPT 4o Mini, which is one of the faster kind of coding models or coding over at OpenAI. And we have, let's use one of our serverless. This is Arcee from Arcee, their coder, which is very good. And I would go as far to say for general coding and general purpose, it is one of the best coding models out there. And then, of course, our Qwen 3 dedicated, which we just provisioned. This one also it has some good capabilities, especially if you're doing agentic stuff. It has some advantages in that area. But here are our contestants, so to say, and now I have got a bunch of questions, coding questions here that I'm going to loop through, and we can just watch these different models go and code away, and the tokens fly off the screen. So Again, this is just kind of a fun way to look at this. This is not a official performance benchmark, and in no way have we tuned any of these models in any way, shape, or form. These are basically vanilla here, and you can kind of see the results going by, and then we aggregate them up here. So they're all about similar. The Arcee is a faster TTFT here, at least in this test, and looks to have the best TPS. Qwen Coder is also pretty good. And then we have OpenAI's 4.0, which has a little bit lower TPS and TTFT. But I'm going to let this run for a while, and we can see we're obviously also not evaluating the quality of the code here. But let's just come back in a little bit after a bunch of runs and we can kind of see how things took shape. All right, we have let this run for quite a little while here. We've got 57 runs across these models, and you can see here we do have, as far as speed goes, a clear winner. And surprisingly, that is the RC, not because it's their coding model or anything, but because it's serverless, coming in number one, beating out the Together Qwen 3 dedicated coder. And you can really see they're very close on TPS, but you can see the end-to-end latency, how long it takes the total operation here because of that insanely fast time to first token, virtually 3x faster. The difference really there. And also, I think how they've optimized this model around coding and coding specifically to what the users are or the questions are asking for and optimizing that. And you can see over here in last place is our OpenAI GPT 4.0 Mini, which is one of their more responsive models. And you can see really they kind of underperformed these two really in the tokens per second and in time to first token. So again, pretty surprising. I expected the dedicated, honestly, environment here to be faster, but hats off to the team at Arcee. I'm impressed, and yeah, this is by no means scientific. These are also not tuned. Nothing here on the Together side is really tuned with speculators or prompt caching or any of those types of things. This is very vanilla. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to the sales team and get in touch with solution architects like myself who can benchmark and really get your models to hum. I hope this was interesting. I'm going to do more of this. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.